Thank you. Very much appreciate you. We'll see you again here, Charmer. Already getting into it, actually. Senna and Janna. So very, very high priority for Cloud9 to prevent grilled cheese from popping off. I was talking about Kenshin, but I guess you can't really talk about that Dragon Lane unless you also talk about how well Stove has been doing. Yesterday, it was also kind of a little bit of a rocky game for Stove, or a couple rocky games for Stove as well, but that was up against Immortals, you know? So a little more consistency coming from that team, a lot more growth, I would say, than we've seen now from Cloud9 where we're at.
I was going to say, I mean, it's hard to look good when you're either not Immortals or your Tribe, you know? It's gonna, there's a little bit of, we'll talk about Immortals after this. It'll be the next game after this one. But for Cloud9, I'm looking at what they can do on this. I mean, you're not only on blue side, but we're looking at just the tournament as a whole, right? They've already made top 6, and top 2 makes it to NA Regionals. 3 through 6 seed are going to just be playing for seeding to try and go to the 3rd major. It is so important, like we've said, not only do they want to try and lock their ticket to try and have a chance at the Worlds event for Wild Rift, but they also want to try and play pretty well and make it already. Don't have to play through that 3rd major and bet and make some bets.
4 supports.
4 supports.
Out of
supports
6,
don't exist.
4 supports are banned, and Cloud9 took away 3 of them. Absolutely insane how much power these players can have over the game.
We want to get rid of strong support pairings, but wonder what that does for the marksman position, because I mean, you see it as a lot of enchanters. Lulu's still available, and that's what grilled cheese are going to go for. Seraphine has been picking up a little bit of steam. We saw that from Enemy, where they played the Sona Seraphine bot lane.
Yeah.
So all of these things available to them, and it looks like they're going to go with a blind pick of the Darius. Interesting.
That's a risky one. But Darius is very, very strong right now. And if you're able to get the Iron Spike Whip and utilize that really well right at the beginning, then you have a really solid chance, even if you're counter-picked, to at least have some survivability, especially if you get a little bit of presence from the jungler up there in the Baron lane. But Ziggs is going to be the next lock-in, kind of fallen off, I have to say, in terms of the pickups recently. Before we were seeing Gragas and Ziggs as either perma-banned or perma-picked every single game. And recently we've seen Ziggs go through quite a bit, not really have as much priority.
They were competitive staples, but I think Smacks last night on the cast actually had a really great point where games don't really last all that long, specifically in other regions as well, where the games are so fast. Ziggs is just getting slammed in every laning phase and is unable to do all that much. So Cloud9, with a really strong core, where you have some engage from Leona, but you're having Varus and Ziggs be these disgusting amounts of damage when it comes from the poke. So what I want from grilled cheese is we're looking for engage, and I like that it's Galio. Vayne can suffer in the laning phase, so it's going to be a tough task, I think, for the grilled cheese dragon lane.
That's definitely going to be tough, but you got the Lulu in there at least. You do have that Enchantress that isn't really available in Leona. So being able to get some Whimsy off, get some Polymorphs off onto Varus is going to be really, really particular, but also picks is going to be very helpful if you get the shield up, really. And while most people utilize the Polymorph, I gotta say that the Whimsy is actually incredibly useful early on, especially against someone with such hard crowd control like Leona.
It's so broken, too, in this game. It's a trap. You don't even have to, it's not even a skill shot. You just put it on the ground. You can't walk into the area all of a sudden.
Yep.
So much better. And Cloud9 wanting to stick to that particular style that we've been talking about. Graves here for Tarzan. And you look Renekton for Zello. I don't know about this for grilled cheese. I'm going to just assume that may have been a mispick because I see a Master Yi on my team. There's not a lot of engage for Cloud9. There's not a lot of ways to stop him once he activates the Highlander. I'm going to wait for production to give me the A-OK if that's a Master Yi or not. But the rest of it, the other 4, we're going to ignore Master Yi for right now. The other 4, I'm kind of liking a little bit.
I love it. Honestly, if that Master Yi is the lock-in, you know what? My only concern is the Leona. Once you get Leona in there, her main job is going to be to lock down that Master Yi if that really is the case.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, he's kind of got free range. You've got the Varus and the Ziggs and the Graves is really, really nice, juicy opportunities for engages. And you know what? Grilled cheese has pulled out some crazy things in the past, all right? So they're adding a few more flavors to their recipe here. Adding a few more toppings. All right, what is it called within, it's sandwich toppings, I guess.
Fillings. Is it filling?
Fillings?
I feel like it's like
It should
So
be like sandwich toppings, but it's not going on the top of a sandwich.
yeah,
But
toppings. That's where we're getting
toppings, yeah,
so,
but it's not going on the top. So like grilled cheese
hmm,
toppings, that sounds it sounds like I'm putting stuff on the grilled cheese though. Needs
mm,
to be a better name for that.
yeah, I think
Filling
we're
doesn't
gonna. It,
sound
it
right
may
though.
exist outside of English. It may exist outside of English because I know English has a
Probably.
hard time with coming up with really cool words that are very individual in their
Yes.
use. But
Yeah.
Cloud9, like we're talking about Leona, Renekton has a little bit of crowd control, but I mean, a lot of this I think is just Cloud9 wanting to test if they can brute force a lot of these lanes. I mean,
Yeah.
Ziggs can poke out this Galio pretty early on. Varus can do the same thing and try to bully out with Leona in the bot lane. And then we're looking at this Baron lane. I mean, you're playing Renekton and Darius. This is a really tough matchup that can go either which way very quickly if it goes south for one of these Baron laners. So I think this is a very risky composition, but in a best of 3, if there's ever going to be time for you guys to like try something out, maybe see what the Ziggs priority is in the series, then this is the game to do it. I am not the biggest fan of this. I think Graves is a really short range marksman against Galio, Vayne, and the Darius. Some melees, so that's nice, but other than that, you're hurting in terms of trying to get some damage off without dying.
It's a lot of damage. And then when you consider, a little bit of follow through from that, since it will be Graves who's invading, towards the Dragon lane, or probably likely early on towards the Baron lane. But for the Dragon lane, you've got the piercing arrow as well coming through. And so if you happen to get the initiation from Graves, even if the crowd control doesn't hit from Leona, you're going to be taking a lot of damage. You got the slow from the smoke screen as well. You've just got the fact that he's able to, even though it's a short one, it's a little dash. And sometimes that's all you need to get in on Master Yi, be able to throw the smoke screen down. And that's actually really, really big in terms of shutting him down as a player. But you know what? I like the Galio is what makes me just be like, all right, but there's still some possibility because
It's winnable. It's winnable.
Yeah, because you have a solid initiation. And if he does go in or wants to go in on something that is potentially not a great engage, you have the hero's entrance, just throw in Galio, and then you've got Pirate Boy just able to hop on top of it. And yes, it is I'm stoked. You know what?
We got to
understand.
Yi.
I don't even like Yi. I don't like to see Yi played that often, but Wild Rift Summer Series, I'm so down right now. Grilled cheese, you guys are winning my hearts.
This is one of the few games of like a League of Legends IP that I'm okay with Master Yi being played because he's just not as strong. We're seeing a level 1 Jolly.
That's Steezy taking a lot of damage. Just going to walk away from this one, though. Good recognition and good patience without... Nope, never mind. It was Exhaust that was blown there, but not Flash, at least. And Heal as well from Stove. I'm not sure if that was really necessary.
They're just trying to keep them topped off, but Jackie already wanting to be this. That was a 4v5, and the fact that it was mildly even for them, all things considered, is really, really nice for them. Now, with that heal gone, I don't know what this exactly does for the bot lane. I like this, though, taking away the early blast cone, and Kenshin actually having to cover the mid lane here. Are they just going to go and try to steal Cloud9's strategy from the qualifiers and from last major of duo in the mid lane? Or, more than likely, this is just to cover the lanes for right now and do something and go for a lane swap a little bit later on?
Yeah, that's, likely the thinking behind it, especially with this Galio, because he's going to get poked out hard. And you get solid crowd control. They can do a dive under the tower here. So it is going to be Stove actually duoing along with Pirate Boy. So it's going to be an assistance here. And they can actually run this. If they want Scuttle Crab Cryo, like, sure, you can go for this. You can try to get
we're fighting
on something here, and it will be a fight that goes through. Yeah, it's cheeky. All right, I like it.
I don't know if I like it. So the important thing here, when Lee Sin was first released, one of the biggest complaints for this champion is that jungle as a role right now is really, really busted in solo queue, because all in all, there isn't much incentive to actually go for camps, go for farm. The growth in terms of experience that you just naturally get from standing around the map is enough to kind of assuage some of those growing pains. You're really kind of just going for a little bit of gold and some experience, and we're seeing it there. Stove was level 1 for a really long time, and this is a strategy where if you're just sitting with an Ardent Enchanter support, Master Yi becomes so deadly in that 2v2. Yes, Lulu doesn't provide a lot, but the natural experiences she's going to gain over time makes up for that. So interesting to see. maybe just an adaptation from the early level 1 here, but it allows for Kenshin now to be level 5 a little bit early compared to some of the other members. And I just wonder what the actual what are the ramifications from this early game, because you still have unorthodox lane assignments right now.
Oh yeah, I mean they're sticking with it. At least Lulu is still roaming around here. It looks like Lulu might end up heading back down to the bottom side because it is a lot of pressure, but pretty hard to do that when you've got Leona, but the Zenith blade doesn't land. Stove says, "Hey, Steezy, don't be scared. I'm here with you. All right, you got a Lulu now."
Hey, I mean, may have just been like just a little bit better, especially with now they're trying to set up for this dive. Ziggs is already moving over, does have the ultimate, will be able to throw this under turret. Grilled Cheese backing off immediately. They don't want to lose their life. They're willing to grab or at least lose a couple more plates. Might even just be the turret, thanks to how Ziggs works. Throw down the Hex Tech explosive. Let's do it. Satchel Bomb. Fortification's broken.
Will come out soon.
Hey,
there
it is.
There it is. Is it the same percentage in Wild Rift? It is, right?
Yes, it should be. Yeah. But now we're seeing they lost first turret. Let's see if they can get back onto the map. Leona is just now arriving. Ziggs still has ultimate. Here we go.
They're going to split it. Kenshin goes on the backside, finds a Condemn. The Solar Flare comes out towards the front. Galio with the hero's entrance. Tekshi takes a lot of damage there. Has to back up, but Zello gets in a good amount of damage. A solid piercing arrow on top of it. We'll find one. Kenshin on the backside does manage to take out Tarzane, but overall, it's a successful fight for Cloud9.
And straight back to the dragon after a couple respawns is probably just going to be what happens here. Grilled Cheese already making their way over to this Rift Herald early on. But a win there for Cloud9 nonetheless. A huge amount of gold now influx for them, not only off of that turret, but I mean, it's so early on, Jolly, and usually we're looking at 3-1, we're like, okay, it's still pretty even, but this team obviously has an advantage. But that turret going down sub 3 minutes is so important here for Cloud9. They will always have priority in the bot lane, and they can just constantly move around the dragon lane and keep priority over it.
It was a nice attempt there, you know, with Kenshin splitting off, trying to keep the Renekton away from the fight so that as much damage could be sent over to Cloud9 as possible. But the problem is the damage just isn't coming through quite yet. They didn't have a good positioning there for either Tekshi or Pirate Boy. And, you know, it was clever, it was sneaky, but it didn't quite pan out. They're not, you know, I've seen further gold leads for sure, and games take sways, but once you start the ball rolling like this, like Cloud9 is doing here with already about a 4,000 gold lead, it's tough to stop it unless you really just kind of take over the map.
And right now, again, I think some of the over-grouping issues that we saw from yesterday's games are starting to take hold in this one. Level disadvantage in some of the lanes. They want to find this huge Leona.
3-man Solar Flare. They're going to follow it up with a nice Ziggs bomb. That's going to be 1 kill going over to Tarzane after throwing out the ultimate. That's 3 ultimate status. The Dominus comes out. 2 meals has Steezy flash away right there. Already used the exhaust. A piercing arrow from Jackie is going to find another kill. And that's 3 more for Cloud9. 0 for Grilled Cheese.
All right, Grilled Cheese, let's start thinking about the next game, because this one is quite over. The lane assignments early on, we're still seeing it now. Stove was about 2 levels down, but we're not seeing that connect between Pirate Boy and Stove. When you're playing this Enchanter support, you need to be able to connect with one of your carries. One of them has to be getting a lot of gold. Now it's supposed to be Kenshin, who has got the solo experience, got a little bit of gold by themselves, but they are falling to the wayside incredibly quickly. You already see some of the cheap itemization from Jackie on this poke Varus makes it that much easier to be strong a little bit earlier on, and first items are starting to come through for everybody. But Tarzan now with a Bloodthirster is going to be nigh unkillable. Someone's going to have to pick up Grievous Wounds, and I don't think anybody really wants to bite the bullet on that one.
Not just Grievous Wounds, but you got to consider too, I mean, just, you know, go with the plated steel caps. I know you were talking about who is Smax, that's a big proprietor of the plated steel caps.
Yes.
You've got Tekshi. Oh my goodness, as CC goes down. You've got Tekshi with a lot of AD, Kenshin with a lot of AD, and then obviously Pirate Boy with a lot of AD. So the primary damage coming from all of Grilled Cheese is attack damage, and that's just something that Cloud9, as the game goes on, is going to become more and more resilient to.
This, This just feels a little bit like cyberbullying coming out from Cloud9. They got a 10,000 gold lead, and it's not even 10 minutes. We're at 8 minutes, just barely about to cross this threshold. And if they open up this inhibitor, Tekshi's looking for something.
It's going to be the hero's entrance. Trying to focus out as the ultimate comes out from Tekshi. It's going to be one that comes through from Pirate Boy as the ultimate goes down, but CZ and Tekshi get removed from the fight here. Pirate Boy trying to run away, flash forward by Tarzane, but hey, Pirate Boy has got the Whimsy, has got the pick shield, and that means that he'll stay alive for this fight, but it's still another 3 in favor of Cloud9.
So getting a little bit more gold, it is a 3 for 2 like you just noted, but being able to kill the Dragon Lane duo for Cloud9, so important. A little bit more gold in your pocket, and the fact that it did go over to some of the other members. Tekshi finally able to have a little bit of influence on this one, but I mean, that's just silver linings on a pretty bad situation here for the side of Grilled Cheese. Cloud9 looking excellent right now. They're able to accelerate the game incredibly fast, and Zeke's picking up more and more items just means turrets are going to continue to fall. If they ever return back to this lane in the Dragon Lane, that inhibitor turret is basically dead at this point. We can just mark it for dead. It is more of a formality that is still up. 25 seconds before the Drake. I think that'll be the final resting ground for Cloud9 to put the nail in the coffin and send themselves to a 1 start.
You know, I have to say, I would have liked to see this grilled cheese composition played out kind of properly. You know, while it is really heavy on attack damage, had Kenshin had Stove there the entire time, I think that could have potentially, you know, gone a lot more in their favor. Again, Kenshin has been a standout player on this grilled cheese team, and I think they need to put a little bit more focus onto them in, you know, in that dragon side, and having them sit in the mid lane, having Steezy down there, it didn't help in any way. Like you mentioned, Al, none of the extra experience ended up passing over. All of the extra gold ended up going into Cloud9's pockets because they had priority in basically every single lane. They got that early bottom tower. And so it's just getting harder and harder now as the game goes on. About a 12,000 gold lead, less than 10 minutes here. At 4 towers down, you know, both dragons. At this point, it's like, I'm not sure what they were going for. Clearly, it wasn't successful, but Kenshin was their kind of their saving grace here, and I don't think they gave him enough credit.
Church of Kenshin unable to be purified today.
Exactly.
They are
not a holy ground
experiencing
at
a
the
lot
moment.
of pain. Yeah, that one is probably just going to be a Chains of Corruption that feels nice. Not for Grilled Cheese, but definitely for Cloud9. The Master Yi just like kind of ties all of this together, right? They gave solo experience and gold to Kenshin, but is unable to carry because of just how much the map has collapsed around them. They're able to finally get a turret in the Baron lane, but I mean, at this point now, you see, they just get to start at the Baron. They don't. There's not much that I think Grilled Cheese can do to take this back. See a redemption coming over, but there's no charm in this game anymore, at least for this series. Maybe they try to fight them on the end.
You try to get over it. It is going to be Cloud9 who splits off, and so it's going to be a first kill going over to Pirate Boy. A lot of damage on Detection. He has to flash to the back. Ends up getting exhausted right there, but Darius is able to do enough damage. Stay alive right there. Tarzane will go down right here. A triple kill going over to Pirate Boy. In the meantime, Steezy is looking to re-engage here and allow Kenshin to get some damage down, but that piercing arrow is likely going to get the kill. No! Kenshin with the speedy feet is going to stay alive, and Grilled Cheese find themselves a successful fight.
Okay, Cloud9 may have been a split call there. We saw that the Baron, they immediately tried to turn off of it, but it has 1,500 health. At that point, you have to make the call. Do we finish this Baron or do we move away? And I think they spent a little bit too much time. Baron does so much damage. We saw right there. Baron was basically the sixth member of Grilled Cheese. They were the choir for the Church of Kenshin. They said, "We will be blessed the rains down on the Wild Rift." That's a winning fight, but they need a lot more work in this game.
For sure. It feels more like the Church Pirate Boy now, though, with that triple kill being picked up. It was a nice save from Kenshin to avoid the piercing arrow, what looked like, I mean, the face of demise, potentially. But the one tower, you know, you get Kenshin a little bit of extra gold, a little bit of pressure. It was a safe move for Kenshin to be up there at the time, even though those members were rotating up. So, you know, Grilled Cheese is making some better calls. I think they recognize that they have 1 or 2 win conditions here, and it's going to be really Kenshin and Pirate Boy at the end of the day able to pick up some clean kills or quick kills. And if they can split these fights up just like Cloud9 kind of split themselves up there, then we're going to find more successful fights here for Grilled Cheese. So Cloud9 needs to watch out for the splits.
I wish them best of luck on that one. I'm looking at item differential right now, and you're facing a 3-item Graves. You've got Jackie, who we saw in that last fight. you know, just maybe it's 1 or 2 piercing arrows and then the entire thing turns around. Here we go. We're fighting it again.
It's another split fight, but look at that solar flare followed up with the chains of corruption. That was a piercing arrow that did almost all of the damage there. Stove has to flash away from this one. Kenshin is the next to go down, and it's another piercing arrow that does it. Tekshi under tower. Cloud9 disengaged and say, all right, that's a free Baron now.
How do you ever come into this fight as a Vayne when there's Chain of Corruption, there's a piercing arrow taking you for half of your HP, and then you just have Zig's ult, exactly, and the solar flare. It is impossible to move. Cloud9, they're going to get themselves the Baron. We see right now, I like how they're just standing on the edge. Flips him over the wall. That's kind of funny, but should potentially even just be a kill here for Master Yi.
Not going to follow it up, actually, which is good because that is the double buff. That red buff was picked up in that little smite fight before that that fight broke out right there. It wasn't picked up by Pirate Boy. He was able to get it before the fight really broke out, and then he ended up kind of disappearing, saying, all right, you know what, I'm going to take this and go. We'll call that as much of a win as possible. Couldn't stop the Baron from coming through. Now the other dragon has spawned as well. It will be third dragon for Cloud9, but there's really not much that Grilled Cheese here can do. I mean, you've got Darius up in the top lane trying to put some pressure out. You've now got some recalls coming through, and it's going to be a stopped one right there onto Steezy. A nice little taunt there from Stove, though. That's not going to come through any
This is
further.
the ultimate. This is just like...
That's rough.
Cloud9, I think they're playing with their food a little bit. They obviously made a mistake around that Baron, and we're seeing the ramifications of that, but this should just be them looking to move in. They need to have their Ziggs here if they want to take this turret.
Ooh-wee.
Yes, they can brute force like we just saw right there from Jackie, but I mean, Ziggs is the main kind of priority when it comes to taking these turrets. You see that these cannons are just destroying this turret. Kenshin is just, I mean, the health bar is gone.
Yeah, Redemption's going to come through, so that'll offer a little bit of assistance and force Meals out a little bit there. Kenshin just trying to find something, maybe get a solid Condemn to deal as much damage to Meals as possible and force a recall. Just trying to staunch the bleeding here with these Baron minions. That's honestly it. I think they're trying to just stall out this Baron buff, but it's not going to come through. That's the first death. The second one as the Ziggs bomb comes down, and this is spelling the end of game number 1 for Grilled Cheese and a successful start for Cloud9 as the second inhibitor, or third inhibitor, sorry, goes down. Only 3 members of Grilled Cheese left up, throwing out a solar flare just to be flashy, and let's see those corgi butts as Cloud9 take home the first victory of the day.
They definitely just padded some stats there. Triple inhibitor. That was they basically showed up to a dinner party with no utensils at all. They were like, okay, we have the plate. Give us some gold. Give us some, you know, give us a meal. And Cloud9 said no. Cloud9's like, it's bring your own utensils to this party. You really didn't do anything. I mean, the Ziggs did a fantastic job of being able to zone control. And we just saw that even after the level 1, they had complete control of the entire dragon quadrant of the map, thanks to taking that turret so early on. No range available to them. A lot of melees. Graves ended up having some nice influence on that one. But a lot of this, again, when we're looking at Cloud9, what can Jackie do? Can Jackie 1v9 these games? And didn't need to pull out that much of her performance today on this game 1. But still, this is just, that was a stomp coming out from Cloud9.
It was, and I do have to say, I think, I've been saying this for a while, I think there should be more priority on Varus in general. I really like that Cloud9 recognized that and said, all right, we're going to take that win in for our side. There was no Gragas ban. You know, they left the Ziggs open, so that meant that Cloud9 was also able to pick up on that because of the first Darius pick. So I'm not a fan of the Darius first pick there. I don't think that high priority should be on that champion unless it's going to be a counter pick, and even at that point, you know, then yeah, of course, go with the Darius. But to lock it in first, and follow it up, you know, the Lulu I liked, but that first one, I mean, kind of really set things off the track right off the bat for Grilled Cheese. It wasn't even the Yi that threw me off. It was really the Darius. So getting a little bit more of a mix of damage is really going to help Grilled Cheese. That's another thing that I had mentioned before, that Cloud9 was like, all right, cool, plated steel caps, we're good. You know, even if we get hit, we're going to be able to take it because we have some armor built. And so it does look like Grilled Cheese is going to swap over to that blue side. We'll have to see if they end up prioritizing the dragon lane attack damage, or if they're going to be prioritizing the top side like we saw just a moment ago in that first game.
We're gonna need some scholars either from our side, from here on the broadcast, or some other players to help out Grilled Cheese, because they what I just saw felt like the kid who's like, hey, can I copy your notes? Can I copy your homework? But like puts all the wrong answers in, or like by
Yeah.
accident puts like starts at question 2 instead of question 1, so they
Right.
input all of them wrong. We've been seeing that jungle first is a really cool strategy and one that it's been taking over in Europe and here in North America a little bit. But the keys to success we're missing. You don't have any engage. There's not any kind of crowd control other than maybe you're forcing Master Yi to want to go forward, which uh, kind of he just wants space. You want Master Yi when you have a little bit more
Yep.
tanks. You have some people who can block some damage or start fights for him, and you have an enchanter in Lulu. We've seen things like Xin Lulu. We've seen Kha'Zix with
Mhm.
Lulu. Seraphine with all of these champions has also been really good. But no crowd control, no frontline, and I mean a lot of damage, but that damage is all glass cannon when it comes to the
Yep.
Master Yi. So they got the notes right. They got the idea. They said they saw jungle is strong. Like Charmer said at the beginning of the day, maybe just jungle diff. Jungle diff. Okay, let's go for it. But just some of the aspects of it were not there. They ended up missing the mark, and uh, they didn't end up getting that A+ that they were maybe going for.
They didn't, and even with this one, you got to consider too how Graves has kind of fallen off a bit. And it really wasn't a Graves carry. So that one, while you mentioned the Yi, it feels more like you say the looking over at notes. It just makes me think of Futurama in the episode where there's the monkey, the smart monkey, and he's thinking about the jungle, and so he's drawing bananas, and Fry's looking over and he's like, and you see him with like badly scribbled bananas all over the
Yeah, there
paper,
you go.
thinking he's writing down the right answer, and it's like that's not actually what won them the game. It was all the lead up to that. It was the other members. It was the Ziggs and the Varus really that were the two standout players, and something that you have to consider going forward too. So maybe not even so much pressure on that jungle. Go with someone strong, like you said. Xin Zhao was up and available, or would have been if it wasn't banned out by Grilled Cheese, because you had 3 support bans from Cloud9. So if they're focusing bottom lane that hard, you need to in turn put some focus into bottom lane as well.
It's time to not ban 3 supports, guys. Maybe they were just
Hey, it
like
worked for 'em.
stove. It worked for
worked.
them. I just don't know. Yeah, maybe if you want to just get rid of stove, maybe try to hamper down on that support pick. It's cool. But now that you're on blue side, Grilled Cheese, what are you gonna pick up? Are you gonna be the ones to drop the Senna ban? Are you guys gonna be the ones to take it up? Like, are you gonna ban Ziggs? You gotta ban Camille. You gotta ban Xin Zhao. You have to be able to ban Varus as well. You only get 3, everybody, and you get to
I
be the
know.
one to first pick. So a lot of things on the table here for Grilled Cheese if they want to keep their tournament lives single elimination from here on out. Best of 3, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I see this composition and I just not the biggest fan. Usually I'm a big fan of most of the players here in Wild Rift, maybe individually, but that one gets the thumbs down. Double
I
thumbs down.
really like, okay, now that I reconsider it, I really like the C9 bans, because here's the thing. Senna is really the big strong one there. Yes, Janna and Nami are very, very strong, but you know what? They're not necessarily like 3 support ban worthy. However, at that point, they're like, okay, let's ban Senna, and then we're going to wait and see what power picks Grilled Cheese bans, because we have first pick. At the end of the day, we can leave every power pick open, but the enemy team knows that they are open. So choosing to leave, like, the Ziggs isn't necessarily the first high priority, but like leaving the Xin, letting the other team ban out the Xin, the Camille, and the Rakan were the 3 forced bans there from Grilled Cheese. So forcing out high priority bans from the enemy team by picking kind of like semi-high priority or lower priority is actually a really, really good strategy in forcing the enemy to ban things they might want.
I'm just trying to imagine like what do the like if they're always going for the Master Yi, right? So the Master Yi is our R5, and we have Darius first with Lulu. I think you just kind of change it up, right? I
Yeah.
think the pieces are all right for the most part. But for Grilled Cheese, they obviously are kind of breaking the mold. These 2 teams do not follow the standard when it comes to jungle right now, because it has been Vi, Graves. Like, these champions are just non-existent when you look at the other teams, and you're looking at
Yep.
Tribe, Enemy, and the others. This is just like individually in series, what are we looking at for them? So now we have to start thinking, what other junglers are going to come out for Pirate Boy? Are we going to see Vi again? Are we going to start to see some more off meta picks? Are we going to see even maybe an Evelyn if they want to go for an AD mid laner here? for for grilled cheese? I don't know. It would definitely be, hey, if we're gonna spike the game, if we're gonna go for like a football spike, let's just go for it. Let's just go for all early game. Try to figure out how to sow chaos into Cloud9. But we're back into it, and Rakan this time gonna be for grilled cheese. Let's see how many more bans can we get for supports. We're at 4. We can max out at 6.
That's actually, you know what, and kind of going off of my initial thought too of this one of, all right, just let the bans go through. Ban like one person, whether you're on red or blue. And if the enemy is worried, like if you got big enough champ pool, you don't have to worry about any of your bans. You can literally low prioritize your bans and then say, okay, we're on blue side. So if you don't ban out these high priority, we're gonna take it. The other side is there's so many strong champs that there's not one that needs to be taken, right? There are so many that do very well and have a lot of cohesion. So really, it's just setting yourself up for success by here again, Cloud9, they're gonna be taking out these supports because the power picks are not really within the supports. Yes, they're strong, but aside from Senna, they're not power picks.
They are, they're a little bit annoying in lane to deal with for sure. That has been kind of the flavor for supports, is how much of a lane bully can you be? How obnoxious can you be when we're in the first few minutes of the game? But this just means, again, Xin Zhao has made it through. Camille has made it through. What is grilled cheese first answer here? Are they going to be the ones to pick this up? Are they going to kind of still pick up their Baron laner pretty early on? I think for Cloud9, this is a pretty easy red 1 and 2 pick for what you want to grab. You can grab your bot lane duo for the dragon lane, or pick a really strong mid jungle duo for yourself.
It's so clever. Leave all the power picks up because no matter what, we get 2. You get 1, we get 2. So the Camille should definitely be a quick lock in here for Cloud9. I really hope that that's a pickup because Camille is so incredibly strong. And we talked about, side lanes and stuff yesterday, Alk, in our first set of games in the quarterfinals that we were watching. And I mean, it was so ferocious, really. Gragas is going to be an early hover here. They do have the 2 picks, so they can lock in the Gragas and the Camille if they want. They can lock in an ADC if they decide they want to go that way, and like Ashe, who has been very, very powerful. They're going to go with the Corki, though, so mid lane priority on that one. You do have the counter ability from grilled cheese, but Corki is, even with counters, is kind of tough to counter because of the amount of range that he's got.
I like the idea of this from Cloud9. You're putting Zello on another tank, which really doesn't have to do much in the game on the Baron lane, so can go for AP if they need it, but wanting to get rid of the Baron lane really early on here from grilled cheese. This is a strong 2v2 from the top jungle, but Corki is flexible as well. You don't have to show your hand. Grilled cheese, what is your answer? Are you going to pick another enchanter support? Are you going to pick Lulu again for the Xin Zhao? I think it's a better combo than what we saw from Master Yi, just because you have so much more crowd control available to you. But no, they're going to do that, which kind of forces Cloud9. Are you going to pick up Lucian? Take that combo away from you guys?
Yeah, that's definitely, I mean, it's a good one, but Lucian has had a little bit more prio in the mid. Ashe is also exceptional with Braum. You get that Freljordian bottom lane, and it really allows her to get, with the slow from Winter's Bite along with the concussive blows passive. I was literally going to say, why, grilled cheese, why would you lock in the Darius when you're not certain that Gragas is going top? You cannot do that. That is way too easy of a counter pick. This Darius, like, I would have loved to see the Camille. I absolutely would have loved to see the Camille. Even with the Gragas there, you have flexibility with these champions and these players, and you can really throw anyone anywhere. We saw grilled cheese do it in the last game. We'd Galio on the bottom.
Get punished.
And there it is. So the Lucian's going to be picked up, and grilled cheese, I had confidence. I had a lot of faith with how well that they were playing, and they've been progressing and stuff like that. But these picks make me really, really falter in that confidence.
They make me a little sad. They're giving me tears. Like, grilled cheese, you're supposed to be the chosen one. We said that you were going to be the ones to win this match, not Cloud9. You're supposed to bring balance to the major, not defeat it. But Cloud9... Like, we haven't seen too much Gragas support. The only person that's really playing it is Selma on NME, and that was in the first circuit. We haven't seen much of it unless it's paired with Senna. So, definitely a more unique pick, just from coming into the second major, but I'm glad that we're seeing that flexibility from Cloud9, that they're able to show that, hey, this is able to be played in support for us, because I think it just opens it up. Never mind! It's Renekton in the jungle! I just saw this in my solo queue game that I lost yesterday! This is
Yeah.
great.
This is great. So, okay, so it is going to be Gragas and Darius, all right? So, okay, grilled cheese, I'm sorry.
There we go.
I was a little aggressive.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I still don't like it. I still would have liked the Camille much, much better. I can't lie about that. Camille should be Camille and Varus. Camille, Varus, I mean, Zin, in my opinion, are like should be some of the highest priority just because of the amount of utility that they offer and the ease of making it into a cohesive composition around those guys. Ashe, I think, should still really be high prio. I'm really surprised that we see the Kaisa come out instead of the Ashe here for Grilled Cheese's bottom lane, but that Void Seeker is very, very helpful. Having the Killer Instinct to really get in, since Grilled Cheese is certainly looking for initiations, might be helpful, but when you have the amount of damage that you do on Cloud9, I don't know if Kaisa really wants to go in on that.
There are some squishy members. This game is basically all going to be for Cloud9. What can Gragas and Alistar do if we get to an even game state? The game is not even. We can just call it a wash. They probably can just dive Nexus turrets and do whatever they want. But for Cloud9, if we're at an even game state a few minutes into the game versus Grilled Cheese, where everybody has their ultimates, they try to dive into the backline with someone like Xin Zhao and the Orianna Shockwave alongside the Kaisa Killer Instinct, Gragas Explosive Cask makes this dive basically go haywire immediately.
Yeah.
Same thing with Alistar. You're just not gonna. You don't even have to do the full headbutt pulverize. You just headbutt them away, and you just be like, okay, cool. Well, now they're not gonna be in the fight. We have like 2 or 3 seconds where we just blow up the rest of their team. Renekton jungle is the one that throws me for a little bit of a curveball here. It is okay into Xin Zhao, but I don't have a lot of experience with this champion. I saw it a little bit, like I said, in my solo queue game, and I thought it was okay. But it's certainly a flex pick that if that is available to you guys, then it definitely makes your team a little bit stronger. I think that just having that Renekton be able to go in multiple different lanes is super awesome, but we have to see how effective it can be, especially since Cloud9 are ones to always want to try and buck the trend.
I think that one of the strongest parts about Renekton right now in Wild Rift is Dominus. Dominus is massive. It is absolutely huge. The amount of damage that you can absorb using that ultimate is insane, and certainly more than we see on Summoner's Rift. And so I think that late game Renekton is great. You still have the ability early on, if you want to do engages, Slice and Dice makes that so easy. You can Slice and Dice, throw in your second ability, I forget the name of that one, but throw in your second ability, throw out a first ability if you need to for a little bit of lifesteal there. But at that point, you've just allowed whatever lane it is to free fire onto that enemy. So you've got the early pressure thanks to the Slice and Dice and that second ability with the hard lockdown. But late game, it's Dominus. Late game, it's basically mostly Dominus and first ability to try to stay alive. But that's really all they need from Cloud9, with the rest of the composition doing so much damage and being able to have so much escape.
Nerf bruisers already, guys. This is the only PSA that you're probably going to get from me about bruisers, but if you're playing a champion that can build Steric's Gauge and you get Gargoyle a stun plate, good luck trying to kill them, because now they have like 1,000+ HP and shielding, and it's basically a second health bar that they get access to. And never mind, Tarzan is playing Aftershock Gragas, so we don't even have to talk about Renekton.
Okay, was actually
I'm honestly kind of glad.
Then I'm mad again, Grilled Cheese. That was in the back. It was in the back of my mind. It was in the back of my mind. I was like, well, could it be the Gragas jungle? Because we saw it way early on. Like, I saw Gragas jungle for sure way early on. It was really early. That was when Gragas could really be like, it was like a three position flex. You saw it in the support role, you saw in the jungle, and you saw on the top as well. And so yeah, you got Tarzan on this Gragas, meaning yes, Zello is on the Renekton, meaning yes, you've got Tekshi in a very bad matchup, and Steezy's already so darn low here in the mid lane. We can see there, Neil's off to a fantastic start. Steezy not even able to hit level 2 before being forced back.
I like how Steezy recognizes, oh, if I go down here with no barrier, this is going to be really problematic for us. And honestly, now we're going to start to see it start to trickle down into the jungle matchup as well, because we'll see now that both of the junglers will be able to move over to the Scuttle Crabs, but without the mid laner able to fight for this priority, we see that Meals just trade a mana, have the bot lane start to roam up. They're actually just going to make a gank before this happens. See right now, Cloud9, their dragon lane is getting itchy. They really want to try and push out this wave and protect for a potential early Scuttle on the dragon lane.
They have the ability. Meals is actually going to get hopped on. That's going to be a forced flash out of the mid laner on the side of C9. Feels pretty good if you're Pirate Boy.
Oh, wow. That's really close. If Zello is able to play on the edge of turret range right there and stun up Tekshi as well as get a bunch of damage off, I think that completely ruins the lane, especially with Honeyfruit already gone. And he has to know, look, my jungler is on the dragon side of the map. I cannot show up under this turret. I'm going to lose out on this huge crash and has to force out the flash away from the Darius in the Baron lane. So a nice use of the jungle presence on the opposite side of the map. They're not even able to really punish Cloud9 so far. I mean, they've been able to push out this wave. Xin Zhao is not even going to come answer any of this. So they have to kind of make a very quick exit out of this side of the jungle. Otherwise, Cloud9 are coming out pretty far ahead.
I was gonna say, Grilled Cheese, though, also have an opportunity as well right here because they have a quicker clear coming from Pirate Boy than Tarzan right there. And so it's going to be Zello who comes around the other side. Pirate Boy taking
I don't think they win this.
Niels is not going to be able to go in on this one. There it is.
What are they doing?
Second ability over the wall, and there we go. A First Blood double kill thanks to that
Zello!
first ability coming from Tekshi. I mean, absolutely insane. Zello might stay alive. If there's a Void Seeker available here for Kenshin, that would be a death, and that's going to be an execution. Manages to find without the Winter's Bite landing.
C9, what are you doing, guys? You don't ever win that fight. Meals has like 100 HP. Why are we sacrificing each other? I'm glad, you know, the camaraderie in the team is probably like, guys, we have to commit to this play. We need to bail Tarzan out of this jungle position. But let them die, guys. Like, it's not worth it. It's a huge play for Grilled Cheese. They get a nice injection of gold, 2 kills, specifically now to try and offset what happened to Tekshi earlier. It's nice, and it kind of undoes some of the early plays that we saw coming out from Cloud9.
That is going to be, whoa, that was a flash from Steezy, but I don't think that even went through because I think the headbutt actually came at the same exact time. So kind of a wasted flash, but, you know, that was also a flash forward oh, no, it was instantaneous. Okay, they must have done it at the exact same time. No, they can't have done it.
So they did, so he did pulverize.
They did the exact same time.
He didn't do headbutt pulverize. So he did only pulverize, so he knocked up. And then
they both flashed.
Steezy flashed behind Alistar, and that's what we saw just knocks him under his own turret. And kind of makes it a very sad play, but getting that flash away from Orianna is much more important than this Alistar for the time being. We've got package coming in. Jolly, it is age-old time. It is now dragon time to fight.
A tale as old as a dragon.
Yes. As the just now 4-minute spawn dragon, yes.
There it is.
4 minutes old.
4 minutes, just this young baby dragon. It's going to be an engage. The culling comes out of the backside. That's concussive blows. Out comes the Glacial Fissure. That is a lot of damage onto Tekshi. Kenshin will likely be the next target. No, it's going to be Pirate Boy, who tries to go back and deal enough damage to Meals to pick up a kill, but no, it's not going to come through. Kenshin, the only one alive, tries to throw a Void Seeker out. Meals says, ha, I only need 100 health. What are you talking about, Alf?
That was pretty close. I mean, look at some of the other members here. They got blinking health bars. They're going to be able to grab this dragon. Guys, I don't know what it is with our first match. Afterwards, it'll probably go back to what we saw. But in our first match, teams just don't recognize they can trade. They just want to go for the fight. It's a me fight comp. You have to be able to headbutt your opponent before they can headbutt you. And finally, after losing a few members and, you know, giving over some of their summoner spells, they're going to now be able to take the Rift Herald. Cloud9 just coming out ahead in this trade for the time being. The gold should even out, and we'll have to see what the Rift Herald gets for Grilled Cheese. But for right now, I'm feeling really confident if you're Cloud9 and how you're able to play out the rest of this game.
I'm also, you know, you're also got to be confident if you're a fan of Grilled Cheese to see after that last game, after that last
it's not over at 4 minutes, so
it's
already you're doing better.
I mean, 540 now is on the board, and it's a tied gold game, okay? Last time we were looking at like 4,000 at 5 minutes in favor of Cloud9. So the fact that Grilled Cheese has found successful fights in the first place, the fact that they got Tekshi with a double kill early on is great. It's going to be Tekshi that gets jumped on now here, though, and is not going to be able to get out of that one alive. Zello picks up the kill.
I miss the old Tekshi. We're playing Singed Tekshi. I mean, this is just like, we're playing Darius, we're trying to play carries, and Meals gets the heal off. That should just be Kenshin.
Close. That should be Kenshin. Kenshin's going to be able to use the second ability to get away from that one, though.
Honey fruits are broken, by the way. We just saw, like, Meals goes from 10% HP, instantly healed to full, thanks to that. So, doing good for themselves. But Cloud9, they're just finding advantages, and they're kind of I think, punishing some of the aggressive tendencies we're seeing from Grilled Cheese.
Yeah, that's the problem, is they are pushing out a little bit far. You know, you can tell that Cloud9 is like, all right, we're able to play reactively because they're making a few misplays in terms of their aggression or their proactive play for Grilled Cheese. So Cloud9 says, okay, we just gotta wait for a mistake again, and we will be able to collapse on it and come out more successful, especially based on the composition. We've seen how much Dominus can help and affect these games. Stove is trying to come through, gets, you know, the concussive flow stack with a little Winter's Pipe. That's gonna be it. And there's 3 members of Grilled Cheese that have to defend this mid lane.
Thankfully, they have some okay wave clear with Kaisa and with Braum being able to be so stalwart in the mid lane. It allows for them to kind of just keep doing this little dance that we're seeing from them, where they move a few members, they try to get for some scuttle priority, but not much movement happening in the minion wave there. This is all on Cloud9 to try and make some certain engages. They are ahead, so they can keep pressuring, but Grilled Cheese, yet again, over grouping a little bit. We see here that Tekshi actually walked down to see if maybe there was going to be a fight, but allows Zello to get some nice alone time on this turret. Gets the first turret in the Baron lane for the side of Cloud9. There's the over grouping is happening again, and it just means less experience, less gold, less concentrated on certain members, and allows for Cloud9 to do what they want on the cross map.
Still, even with those 3 members, oh my goodness, a nice shockwave. That is, it doesn't, no, okay, it did not cancel out.
Say goodbye to Steezy, everybody.
Thought for half a second that maybe Jackie had utilized the culling, but Steezy is going to go down. No way! What an absolute god! Manages to flash through, but it won't be Jackie who gets tower aggro. That might have been a kill. Still a really flashy play from Steezy.
I'll give him credit for that one. We gotta give him the gold star for the attempt.
Oh yeah.
It's like you tried something. It looked good for a moment there, but I mean, right now, Grilled Cheese, they want something hand over fist. They don't know what's gonna happen on the offset coming out from Cloud9, but they need to get something in return for these plays. When you invest 3 members into the Dragon lane, something else has to happen on the map. Otherwise, it's just Cloud9 telling you what's going to happen in the game, and you're just there to receive. Dragon's going to spawn. I don't know what Grilled Cheese are going to do, especially with Kenshin now in the Baron lane. They're going to be numbers disadvantage and a huge part of their gold lead.
Yeah, and I talk a lot about, you know, proactive reactive play. And kind of like what I was just saying a bit ago, it's not even that Cloud9 is like fully in control of proactive play. They're like, we can play reactively. We can just do it better than Grilled Cheese anyway. So no matter whether they're on, you know, the proactive or reactive side of the play, Cloud9 knows that they have some sort of advantage just in terms of overall mechanics and skill right now against this enemy team.
And I want to see it pay off for them. I want to see for Grilled Cheese, you're putting a lot of resources, you're giving Kenshin a lot of gold. When does this pay off? Because otherwise, you're just allocating resources and not getting much on return from investment. So Kenshin needs to have a pop-off fight, and we've seen glimpses of it here and there in all of their series, but I need to see it. And I mean, Grilled Cheese need it more than I do right now if they want to stay in the major. Right, they're looking at about 2,000 gold differential, but it's got to start feeling a lot more than just 2,000 when you're looking at some of the slight level leads in some of the lanes, and you're looking at the dragons that are starting to be stacked for them. It's going to start to feel more and more oppressive as the game goes on. And
you know, you've at least got a little bit more AP damage. Ooh, the shockwave is gonna get 1, maybe 2, but that's going to be Steezy, who is on the inside of the Raptor pick, gets stalled out. Tekshi takes the culling full on in the face, and a lot of autos there from Jack, who's still at full health. So Cloud9 find themselves another fight. It might still be going. Hopefully not, if you're a Grilled Cheese fan, even though they look like they want to continue this. Nope, that'll be the end. Rod, what do you...
If you're a Grilled Cheese fan right now, this is like the Simpson gif where it's just like, no, please stop. They're already down. No. But it's a little bit of schoolyard bullying coming out from them. They're 3,000 gold down, and they're just looking for anything, like you see right here for Jackie. Don't know that Shaded Talent is there in the wings, but all you get is a relentless pursuit out of them, and they're not even able to really put down much vision in this barren side of the river. So gonna need to see a little bit of resilience. Need that second win from Grilled Cheese if they want back in.
And, you know, I mean, they still have the opportunity for, you know,
Look
to,
at
to
this.
remain in this. Oh my
Meals.
gosh, Meals has to flash away. I mean, you're going up against a Xin Zhao, Meals. You gotta know that that's not a winning fight, even if you are ahead. It's gonna be Tekshi manages to get a third ability off. Will they be able to follow it up with as much damage as needed, though? Jackie is going to sit on the backside here with the culling, and it's just too much damage from Cloud9. The Glacial Fissure goes across, but no recourse from Grilled Cheese here. Steezy, the only one with an ultimate in this fight right now, has the shockwave up and available. Meals, the only one on the other side, of course, with a short one.
Meals. What are we doing,
that's
lad?
the end of it. It looks like so Grilled Cheese keeps it's like they want to do something, and Cloud9's like no.
You can't.
No.
You gotta get the finger wag emote. I know there's one in some of the league channels. They have the finger wag. And it's pretty funny.
Yeah, and that's what it feels like. It feels like Grilled Cheese is like, yeah, let's go in, and they're like, maybe you can, maybe not. Let's see what happens. Like, Cloud9 just feels fully in control, even though it really is still just, 2.5K gold lead for their favor right now. It's enough in terms of the composition that they have and the confidence that they have in their team here.
I'm sure Cloud9 is feeling I'm sure Meals is feeling really confident after that one. He uses the Valkyrie forward. I can kill the Xin Zhao. Doesn't end up going the way that maybe they expected, obviously with no flash available to them at this point. But, speaking to that, Grilled Cheese, it's one of those like big brother, little brother situations where like someone who has like a very long arm reach over you just puts their hand on your head. You can't really do anything. You're just running in place. You're throwing hits, but you don't really land. And that's what Grilled Cheese is happening to them. They have the package for Cloud9, and the dragon is spawning, but it's like Grilled Cheese are like, what can we really do here? We can't get access to the pit. We can't get access to the river without dying.
Yep. All ultimates are up and available. It's going to be started by Cloud9, but just like every other objective, they're only starting to bait in Grilled Cheese. Zello goes in, takes a little too much damage. It's going to be a nice shockwave right there. Not quite enough, though, as Kenshin tries to get Meals using the Kythian Rain, but it's a nice stopwatch. Oh my gosh, Zello! No, what? No, Zello stays alive. That was almost negative health right there, and then walks back in at a third. She walks back in at a third health thanks to those OP fruits.
All right, so Kenshin just flashed forward, thinking that the Kythian Rain would be the one to execute on them. They don't get the dragon, which is like the most amount of. Oh my God! Wait, this Baron is 1v9. Is this Grilled Cheese? Oh no!
Oh, that was very close. Honestly, 3 members of Cloud9 were just waiting to die there by the Baron pit, but they had enough damage. That does mean Grilled Cheese is going to pick up their first dragon of the game, but I think Cloud9 is a-okay with that. They are now 5K ahead.
That Baron was almost wearing some Grilled Cheese colors there. Almost just took out all 4 members. I think maybe it would have been tied for Baron, has the same amount of kills against C9 as Grilled Cheese do. It would have been close there. But I mean, they get the dragon, and Cloud9 are like, all right, cool. I'm just gonna go grab the Baron for ourselves and put ourselves at a really disgusting lead now. They could push on all of these waves. If the game lasts long enough, I have a small bit of critique for Jackie, which we'll have to pin in for right now and see if they go for the build later. I just see something, and I want to see if they choose correctly. Goodbye, Kenshin.
Wait, that is Kenshin. That is a fight duration as long as crowd control duration. The culling comes out onto Steezy. It is a nice little shockwave and a flash forward by Stove to try to escape from this one, but that's still going to be a mid tower going down in favor of Cloud9. They're going to continue to pressure this forward.
Meanwhile,
they have the Baron buff, and they're going to get the inhibitor.
In the Baron lane.
Meanwhile, in the Baron lane, we have Xin
Pirate Boys doing something.
Pirate Boys saying, all right, you know what? We're not going to win that fight. They're going to break into our base. What can we get in response? But when you have a Baron buff that's pushing in on multiple waves, you're not going to be able to get nearly as much as 5 members with those Baron minions.
If they could take the Baron turret, that's cool. But right now, Cloud9, they are focused on the inhibitor turrets going down. That is 2 of them being broken for the side. Actually, I don't know if you really want this fight. That's the culling coming out, going to be dissuading them from going for this. They might even try to... Oh, man, if Grilled Cheese were able to stall the backs, it would have been great. Come on!
And it is, you know what? I love it. I love it. Sacrificing himself right there. Pirate Boy's like, hey, we lost 3 towers. We're going to take 3 of our own. And that is an open base right there. That's at least an inhibitor down on Cloud9's side.
Mhm.
Yes, they took 2 off for grilled cheese right there. They were able to take, I think, 3 towers total. But considering there were 5 members in a Baron buff, I'm wildly impressed by Pirate Boy's ability to tear through those towers and
Pirate
commit
Boy-
to that last one.
Oh man, that takes a lot of metal as well. When you're sitting there, when you're so far behind, you see all those Barons, it takes a lot of trust in your team to be like, are we going to lose this game on this push? No? Well, I'm going to try and make some kind of answer on the opposite side. It is going to be answered by Cloud9, taking all of the rest of the outer turrets here and looking to finish off the touch on this game with a last inhibitor going down. The top lane, the Baron lane inhibitor being down is good for them, but oh man, I just don't know if that's going to be enough.
Looking for a good shockwave. Here's what's going on. That's going to be the ultimate Crescent Guard coming through from Pirate Boy. They're going to jump to the backside, trying to get as much damage onto Talent here. Tarzan flashes away, barely alive. Your Meals getting over the wall, has to flash out as well because Pirate Boy
he's alive.
looking for the kill.
Jackie
gets hit there, but is going to be able to continue this fight even with the concussive blows. No way! How are Cloud9 able to stay alive with these tiny, tiny health bars? And it will be a shutdown there. Or, who was that got that? Steezy, I believe, but Tekshi's the only one left alive at the moment.
They don't have enough movement abilities, and the TPs are coming in, Jolly. Cloud9, they want to move on to the losers semifinals, lower semifinals. Man, a little bit of a closer game, I guess, but I don't know. That may have just be, there you go. Okay, there's a consolation prize in the Alistar death, but Cloud9, pretty dominant wins. And Grilled Cheese not able to put up a good enough defense in time against them.
Certainly not as dominant as the first game. I really like what Grilled Cheese went in there with. Again, maybe, the Darius wasn't my favorite thing. Had they gone with the Camille, I really would have respected that because you have a lot more split push ability instead of forcing Pirate Boy out when you could really use him on those fights in the base with the Crescent Guard. So that would be my complaint is that early pickup on the Darius. But aside from that, I loved Steezy on this Orianna. Oh my goodness. Steezy was doing such a good job. There was so much priority that Cloud9 had to put in the mid lane to prevent Steezy from really popping off. And if they hadn't done that, I absolutely think that this game could have gone another direction had Stevie gotten a few more kills and not died so many times early on thanks to the pressure that came through from Zello and from Tarzan. But Zello really showing up in that one. Certainly got a compliment there. It's not the normal names. It's not the names you expect to be. We're putting highlights on like Zello and Steezy as opposed to like Tarzan and Tekshi. So I like that. I like that other players are standing out.
I get to have my one thing before we get Charm back in here.
Yes. Tell us what is the problem with Jackie?
Sorelda's Grudge on Lucian. If you have the culling, they die instantly. It's a perma slow. Every single shot that lands, it's a slow. That's all I got. Hello, Charmer. Welcome.
Ability.
Hello.
Yep. Ability.
What?
Reduction. Was not crowd control. What's
ability haste.
Ability haste. Thank you.
Yeah,
it's only been a couple of seasons now with that.
Yeah.
What an exciting match. The first round I felt like was a little bit less exciting, if I'm being entirely honest. I felt like it was decided during the draft. I think Yi is potentially fine in some builds and maybe Vayne, but the two of them together going into a team that had that much crowd control and that much range really kept them at bay. But the second one, very, I think, exciting and much closer. I think it was potentially a story of health bars. You guys were kind of hitting it at the end. Every time they were getting into a fight, it felt like if Cloud9 had a sliver of health, then they had infinite health. They just would not go down. There was a couple of times I think you could have sneezed on somebody and they would have fallen over, but instead they would get away and then they would come back into the fight. They would, whether it was find those honey fruits or heal up on something else, they would come back. So it wasn't even that you pushed them out and you didn't get the kill, but they were still being a thorn in the side of Grilled Cheese. So ultimately, Cloud9 is going to be moving on, continuing in the lower bracket. And that means that here in just a little bit, we're going to be taking a short break, but we're going to be coming back and we're going to see Immortals taking on Sentinels, which is going to be, I think, another very close matchup as well. We're hitting the stage in the tournament where I think the skill levels are really close to each other. And so we're getting much better matchups. And I'm really looking forward to this one. But again, we're going to be taking a short break. Don't go anywhere. More Wild Rift when we come back.